I was folding laundry when the group chat pinged. Just the girls, my sisters, cousins, and her. They were sending pictures from a bridal shower, balloons, champagne. The cake said, "She said yes" in pink cursive. I smiled until I saw his face. Him, smiling, kneeling. Next to her, my baby sister, and that ring, I knew it. I paid for it with my savings. It was supposed to be for me. I stared at the photo like it was a crime scene. My heart didn't race, it stopped. I remember touching my chest like I was checking for a heartbeat, like I needed proof that I still existed. She didn't even have the decency to crop me out of the group chat. And just like that, 12 years, 3 jobs, 2 miscarriages, and every dream I had for us collapsed in the same breath. He was supposed to be working late. She was supposed to be out of the country. I was supposed to be the love of his life. But now I was the fool who funded the wedding of her nightmares. And they both smiled like I never even happened. That was the moment I realized I loved someone who never thought twice about breaking me. It doesn't matter what he promised. It doesn't matter how much I gave. It doesn't matter that she used to cry to me about her breakups and I held her every time. They made their choice. Now I'll tell mine. And if this story cuts deep, if it feels like you're the only one who's ever been betrayed by the people who called you family, subscribe. We tell the truths women aren't supposed to say out loud.
I met Jamal when I was 24. Fresh out of nursing school, full of purpose, full of fight. He worked at the corner store by my apartment. Always had something smart to say. "Your smile's too expensive to be wasted on this city." Or, "I can tell you've got a soft heart. Bet it's gotten bruised more than once." I don't know what pulled me in. Maybe it was the way he looked at me like I wasn't just enough, I was everything. Or maybe it was how empty I was after years of pretending I didn't need to be chosen. He made me feel chosen, at least at first. He didn't have much, but he had ambition. Said he wanted to go back to school, study film, create stories that mattered. So, I made a plan. We made a plan. I took extra shifts at the hospital, I stopped getting my nails done, sold my car, took the bus. Every dollar he needed, I found. When financial aid fell through, I gave him mine. When he needed a car to get to class, I co-signed for a used Honda Civic. He called me his day one, his ride or die. Said when he made it, he'd put my name on the credits of every film. He even called me Mrs. Jamal before there was even a ring. We moved in together after year 2. My apartment, my rent. I cooked, I washed, I covered the bills. He edited student projects late into the night, and I brought him coffee like some loyal assistant. People told me I was lucky, that I had a man with a dream. What they didn't know was I was the dream. He didn't get through school because of grit. He got through because I stayed up Googling scholarships, fighting off eviction notices, and praying his talent would be enough to make all of this worth it. He had me, and I had no one but him. My mother used to say, "A good woman builds her man up." So I built and built and built until one day I looked around and realized the only thing I didn't build was myself. I wasn't his wife. I was his shield, his mother, his mirror, his maid, his excuse. And the crazy part? I wore that like a crown. I thought that made me worthy. The woman behind the man. The one who stood by him when he had nothing. I remember sitting in church one Sunday, hand in his, while the pastor said, "Ladies, be his peace, be the calm in his storm."
I wanted to stand up and scream, but who's calming me? Who's carrying the woman who's carrying it all? Because while he chased dreams, I chased rent deadlines. While he filmed sunsets, I was cleaning blood off my scrubs. While he smiled on campus, I was too tired to smile at all. But I smiled anyway, at his classmates, his professors, his family. I told everyone how proud I was, how talented he was, how lucky I was. And that's what love does, right? It silences your truth so you can amplify theirs. The world thought we were perfect. Social media loved us. Couple goals, power couple. No one knew that every vacation photo was taken on a trip I paid for, that every outfit he wore I bought, that every fight ended with me apologizing even when he was the one who raised his voice first. But I wasn't raised to run when things got hard. I was raised to hold the house together, even when it was on fire, even when I was the one burning. And the thing about fire is, you don't realize you're turning to ash until there's nothing left of you but smoke and silence. I gave him everything: time, trust, tenderness, and all I asked in return was a forever he swore he wanted until he found a shortcut with my sister. It didn't happen all at once. It was a slow erosion, soft, almost merciful, like love trying not to humiliate me too fast. The first time I felt it was on his birthday. I threw a small dinner, candles, wine, his favorite meal, a new watch wrapped in gold paper. He forgot. Not the dinner, his own birthday. Said he was too busy editing, he'd lost track of time. But later that night, I caught a glimpse of his texts. He'd messaged his ex that morning, "Happy birthday to us." He said it was a joke, said I was insecure, said, "Why are you always looking for something to fight about?" So I swallowed it, smiled, cleaned the dishes, and told myself, you know his heart, don't ruin something good over one little text. But it wasn't just one. It was the second phone he swore was just for work. The passwords that kept changing, the late nights that turned into early mornings, the showers right after he walked through the door, and then it was her, my sister. The way she laughed at his jokes a little too hard, the way he suddenly knew her schedule better than I did, the way he pulled his hand away when I tried to hold it in front of her. I remember one evening, I walked into the room and they stopped talking mid-sentence, both smiling, like they were sharing a secret that wasn't mine to know. I wanted to ask, I wanted to scream, but all I said was, "Dinner's ready." Because asking meant opening a door I wasn't sure I could walk through. And then there were the people who tried to warn me. My best friend, Danielle, pulled me aside one day and said, "Sis, I don't like how he talks to you. I don't like how she looks at him." I told her she was overthinking. I defended them both, with a shaking voice and a heart that already knew she was right. Even my little nephew, barely 6, once asked me, "Auntie, why do you cry in the shower?" I laughed, said I was just tired. But that question followed me for days. It still does. Because I did cry in the shower. Every single night. I'd run the water so no one could hear. I'd press my face against the tile and pray for a different truth. I didn't ignore the signs. I just hoped they'd lie to me a little longer. Because admitting the truth would mean everything I built, everything I sacrificed, was for a man who was never building with me, only on me. And it's hard to admit you were never loved the way you loved. It's even harder when it's your own blood helping him break you. I should have known when Becca stopped calling me sis and started calling me girl. I should have known when Connor stopped looking me in the eye and started handing me excuses instead. But I didn't catch them in bed. I didn't overhear some steamy phone call. No, they betrayed me with streamers and a slice of cake. That bridal shower photo didn't just ruin my day, it ended everything. There they were, Connor on one knee, Becca beaming like she hadn't just gutted me. And the ring? Mine, the one I helped pay off during a double shift at the hospital. It wasn't an accident, it wasn't a mistake, it was orchestrated, months in the making. The proposal, the announcement, the decorations, the lies. And not one person warned me. Not my mom, not our cousin Ashley, who was literally in the photo holding the sign that said she said yes. Not my Aunt Kathy, who baked the cake. I wasn't just betrayed, I was set up to be blindsided. I texted Connor the second I saw it. I wrote, "What the hell is this?" He didn't explain, didn't apologize, didn't even try to lie. He sent a single red heart emoji. A heart. Like this was cute. Like my world wasn't burning around me. I don't remember the rest of that night. I know I didn't eat, didn't sleep. I sat on the bathroom floor with my arms around my knees, asking myself how I became this woman, the one who paid for her sister's happy ending. The next morning, I called my mother. I needed something, comfort, outrage, just proof that I wasn't insane. All she said was, "Sweetheart, don't make this uglier than it has to be. Becca didn't steal him. Maybe she was just a better match." A better match? Becca, who never held down a job longer than 6 months? Becca, who once told me I was her hero? She didn't just steal my man. She inherited my everything. Connor posted the engagement to Facebook that same day. Caption, "Sometimes the best things were right in front of you all along." And everyone congratulated them. Heart emojis, finally, comments, little celebration gifts like this was a damn movie and I was just the disposable side character. I walked past a coworker that week who said, "Wow, didn't see that coming. Your sister sure moved fast." And all I could do was nod, smile, die quietly. Because no one really wants to hear how deep betrayal goes, how it's not just about who they chose, it's about how they made a fool out of you while you were still clapping for them. I remember one Thanksgiving, the last one before it happened. Connor fell asleep on the couch. Becca offered to help me wash dishes. She stood next to me, humming, smiling, and said, "You two are just so perfect. It makes me a little jealous, honestly." I laughed. I should have run because it wasn't a compliment. It was a warning shot. And me? I was too proud to see it, too loyal to imagine that my own sister would crawl into my future and put her name on it. And Connor? He wanted someone who didn't know the truth about him, didn't know how many times I covered the rent, didn't see the nights he disappeared and came back drunk, didn't know about the job interviews he bombed, the ones I coached him through. He wanted a fresh start, and he used my sister to get it. You don't just lose the man, you lose the dream, the years, the self you gave away. And you lose your family too, because once they chose each other, they deleted me, like I was never there, like I was just a stepping stone for their happily ever after. I didn't leave my apartment for 4 days. The blinds stayed closed, the food I cooked that night, still in the fridge, untouched, covered in foil like grief-needed leftovers. I didn't shower, didn't answer calls, didn't cry. I just stopped. stopped being, stopped feeling, stopped existing in my own body. The bed felt too big, the walls too loud, and silence? Silence was a scream I couldn't shut off. When I finally did step out, it was like walking through a world I no longer belonged to. Grocery aisles blurred. People looked happy. The cashier smiled and asked how my day was going, and I wanted to scream. It ended 3 days ago. But I just nodded, paid, went home. That became the rhythm. Wake, pretend, survive, repeat. At work, I was a machine. Smiling at patients, holding hands with scared mothers, nodding through small talk with nurses who now whispered when I passed by, because of course they saw the Facebook post. Everyone had. And every time I opened the app, it showed me their faces. Connor kissing Becca's cheek at the pumpkin patch, Becca showing off her ring in the mirror, the one I'd paid 3 installments on, and comments from people I thought loved me, saying, "You two were meant to be." Meant to be? At my expense? At the cost of my soul? But the pain wasn't just online. It came in real human moments. Like when I bumped into Becca at Target. She was glowing, shopping for throw pillows and bridal magazines. She looked at me like I was a stranger, a ghost she had no interest in resurrecting. She didn't even say hi, just walked past and laughed with whoever she was on the phone with. I stood there in the cleaning supplies aisle, gripping a bottle of Pine Sol, wondering how the hell someone could be that cold. And it wasn't just her. My mom started tagging me in Christian quote posts. Things like, "Forgiveness is strength. Bitterness is like drinking poison and waiting for them to die." I wanted to reply, "I'm not bitter. I'm bleeding." But what's the point? No one wanted my truth. They wanted a clean ending, a polite silence, a woman who moved on quietly. I went back and forth between heartbreak and humiliation, grief and rage, shame and numbness. Sometimes I'd call Connor's number just to hear it ring, just to pretend for 1 second that maybe he'd pick up and say, "I messed up, come home." He never did. The last time I texted him, I wrote, "Did you ever love me?" He left it on red, and that told me everything. Even the kids in my neighborhood, the ones who used to wave when I pulled into the driveway, stopped coming by. I overheard one of their moms saying, "I don't want my daughter caught in the middle of that mess." That mess. I no longer was Emily. I was a cautionary tale. My body started to ache in strange places. My appetite disappeared. Sleep came in 2-hour waves, always ending in a jolt, like my own thoughts were trying to eject me from rest. One night, I found myself standing in front of my bathroom mirror, staring so hard I barely recognized the woman looking back. Eyes sunken, jaw clenched, hair matted, gone. He moved on, but I'm still here, still bleeding. I thought the worst was over. I really did. But pain, real pain, doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers when you're just starting to catch your breath, and then it breaks you all over again. The sting came quietly, in a church, on a cold Sunday morning. I hadn't been back to Grace Chapel since everything happened, but something in me needed to feel close to God again. To sit on the pew where I used to hold Connor's hand during worship, to cry somewhere other than my bathroom floor. When I walked in, I saw her. Becca, 4 pews ahead, pregnant. Very pregnant. Connor's arm was draped around her. He rubbed her back like they were the only 2 people in the world, like she hadn't ripped mine apart. She was glowing, he was proud, and I was invisible. That baby, it had to be conceived while I was still wearing his last name in my heart.
while I was still packing his lunch and defending him to everyone, while I was still calling her my sister. The pastor asked all first-time parents to stand for a blessing. They rose together. The church clapped. I didn't. I couldn't. I just sat there, hands trembling in my lap, as my mother leaned in and whispered, "You should let this go. It's not good for your spirit." My spirit was sitting in pieces beside me. My spirit had to watch her own mother lay hands on the woman who replaced her. My spirit had to watch a man she once built up become a father to someone else's beginning. I left before the final prayer. I couldn't breathe. When I got to my car, I didn't cry. I screamed. A guttural, ugly, wounded sound that ripped from my chest and slammed against the dashboard. It scared me. It freed me. Because that was the moment I knew. They were never going to apologize. They were never going to see me. They were never going to give me closure. So I had to create my own. That night, I deleted every photo, blocked every number, folded the few things he'd left behind into a box, and left it on Becca's doorstep. No note, no drama, just done.
Healing didn't feel like sunlight. It felt like silence. Heavy, slow, and honest. I didn't wake up one day with glowing skin and newfound joy. I woke up still hurting, but finally willing to stop chasing people who enjoyed watching me unravel. The first thing I did was rearrange the apartment. Not because I wanted to, but because everywhere I looked, he was there. The dent in the wall from when he hung the TV, the chipped mug he always used, the gray hoodie of his I used to steal when I missed him. I folded it all into a garbage bag. Not because I was strong, but because I couldn't breathe in a space that still smelled like him. Next came the people. I stopped answering calls that left me feeling small, unfollowed relatives who posted photos of Connor and Becca's beautiful journey, let go of childhood friends who said things like, "Maybe this was God's plan." I stopped explaining my pain, stopped defending my reaction to being obliterated. Instead, I walked, just walked, through parks, through neighborhoods I'd never noticed before, no music, no distractions, just my thoughts. At first they were loud, cruel even, but eventually they softened. A month later, I bought a blank journal and wrote one sentence. I exist outside of what they did to me. I repeated it like a ritual until I started believing it. I went back to therapy, not to fix myself, but to learn how to love the woman I abandoned, trying to love someone else.
My therapist asked me, "When was the last time you did something just for you?" And I didn't have an answer. So I found one. I signed up for a pottery class, spent 2 weeks making a crooked little bowl. It's lopsided and oddly shaped, but it's mine. It was made from something broken, and it holds things now. Like me. I started sleeping better. Not great, but better. I stopped dreaming about Connor's voice, stopped scanning crowds for Becca's face, stopped flinching at the sound of my phone. I didn't post revenge quotes. I didn't subtweet. I didn't try to look happy for anyone else's sake. I just kept showing up for myself in small, quiet ways. Brushing my hair again. Wearing perfume even when I was alone. Lighting a candle at dinner, even if it was just pasta in a bowl. I changed my locks. Not because I was scared he'd come back, but because I knew I'd never let him in again. One day, I realized I hadn't said his name out loud in weeks, that I could walk into Target and not feel like I'd shatter at the scent of his cologne, that I could hear the word sister and not flinch. And that was it. Not a victory parade, not a dramatic transformation, just a quiet knowing. I didn't move on. I rose up. No makeup tutorial, no look at me now moment. Just breath and peace. and the woman I had buried beneath other people's comfort. She's back now. A little softer, a little wiser, and still healing, but no longer bleeding.
I used to think love meant endurance, that the more you could tolerate, the more worthy you were, that swallowing your pain was proof of devotion. I don't believe that anymore. Now I know. Real love doesn't ask you to disappear. Not your voice, not your dreams, not your gut feelings that wake you up at 2 a.m. whispering, "This doesn't feel right." And if it does, that's not love. That's control wearing perfume. I learned that silence isn't always strength. Sometimes it's fear. Sometimes it's learned behavior from women who were taught that breaking is better than being alone. But here's the truth no one told me. You don't have to earn love by suffering first. You don't have to shrink so someone else can shine. You don't have to stay silent just to keep a seat at a table that was built on your back. And you damn sure don't owe forgiveness to people who enjoyed watching you unravel. If someone makes you feel like home but treats you like a motel, walk. If they ask you to give everything while offering crumbs, leave hungry. Because peace isn't in the apology they never gave you. It's in the way you stopped needing it to move forward. I've stopped asking why he did it, why she did it, why no one warned me. Those answers don't heal you. They haunt you. What heals you is truth. And my truth is this. He didn't break me. He broke my illusion. And I thank him for that now. Because if he hadn't shattered me, I'd still be sitting at a table starving for scraps, calling it love, calling it family, calling it mine. But now I know better, and now I choose better. I'm not healed. I'm healing. And that's more than I ever thought I'd say. If you're still in it, still staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m., still checking their profile just to feel something, still wondering if it was your fault, this is for you. You're not crazy. You're not overreacting. You're not too emotional. You are a woman who gave deeply, who loved fully, who trusted someone who didn't know what to do with the gift of you. And now you're grieving what could have been. That's not weakness. That's proof you were real. But I need you to know this. You don't have to stay broken to prove you were loyal. You don't have to suffer in silence just because no one clapped when you walked away. The pain you're feeling right now, it won't last forever. And I know that sounds impossible, but I'm proof. You can come back from this. One deep breath at a time. One boundary at a time. One brave little no at a time. And when you're ready, not when they apologize, not when they beg, not when karma finally circles back, but when you're ready, you'll walk out of that pain like a woman who just remembered she was never meant to stay small. So if this is your story too, if the names are different but the scars feel familiar, write "I'm still here" in the comments. Say it, claim it, tell your truth. You never know who's reading, who's waiting, who's healing because you finally said it out loud.